Good morning, I'm Steve Forbes and this is 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz. This is where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock with news. The Sino-US trade war is being felt in China. And the canary is the tin price. It fell more than 6% last week to settle at $17,700 a tonne. That is the largest drop since September 2011, and the reason for the fall is the sharp drop in Chinese demand. While Chinese banks sold a net $28 billion of foreign exchange in June, the biggest one-month net sale in 2 years, as the trade war pressure builds, and yet another sign that companies in the country are having trouble meeting their debt obligations when they are due. Meanwhile, China is also actively working to stop foreign companies from leaving the country by offering them special benefits so the advantages of staying outweigh the heavy tariffs imposed by the Americans. More than 50 global companies have announced or are considering moving their production from China, and it's not just foreign companies. Chinese manufacturers are also part of the planned exodus. And to reinforce the point, it turns out that Vietnam's port throughput now exceeds that for Hong Kong, a major Chinese trade gateway. Vietnam appears to be a major winner from the trade war. While in New York, the key Fed branch that watches over Wall Street has taken the very unusual step of clarifying its governor's comments. From a speech on Friday, markets took it that John Williams, a voting Fed member, was signalling a 50 basis point rate cut at the next meeting. But according to the bank, it was a misinterpretation, and markets are now expecting a 25 basis point cut instead. In the closely watched University of Michigan survey of consumer sentiment, it has come in only marginally firmer this month, but it did undershoot analysts' expectations. And the US is back in debt ceiling talks as the authorised limit will be reached in early September, and right in the middle of a congressional break. This time the Democrats hold more of the cards. Canadian retail sales for May were disappointing, continuing a weak trend, although this is the first time in 4 months that they've declined, and they are now up less than 1% year on year. In Europe, data from France has bucked a trend, with industrial output up strongly in May, indicating the euro area's second largest economy is performing much better than most. It was up 4% year on year, one of the best outcomes in the euro bloc. While in Australia, just as banks started easing mortgage rules following backtracks by the regulator, housing sales show signs of picking up. Auction clearance rates hit 64%, their highest in a year, and so the signs are positive for auction activity this weekend. The US 10-year yield is now at 2.06%, their 2 to 10-year curve is slightly flatter, now at 24 basis points, and their negative 1 to 5-year curve is a little steeper at 13 basis points. Gold is up overnight to $1,425 an ounce, a $9 gain for the week. US oil prices are a little firmer today. They are now just over $55.50 a barrel, and the Brent benchmark is also a little changed at just over $62.50. And while tensions in the Middle East do seem to be rising, it is somewhat of a surprise that oil prices aren't following. The Kiwi dollar is stronger yet again to start the week and is just touching 67.6 US cents. On the cross rates, we're also firmer at 96 Australian cents, and against the euro, we're up to 60.3 euro cents. That pushes the TWI 5 to 72.5. I'm Steve Forbes, and that was 90 at 9, brought to you by interest.co.nz.